as I said earlier, the meeting is recorded. So I'll just go straight into the introduction. So I've tried to introduce you. So can you please introduce yourself and please before I'm meeting you for the first time?
Okay. Honestly, I'm not sure there's any other additional introduction, to be honest. I run a marketing agency. Thank you, Joanna. I run a marketing agency. So I do a lot of marketing work, I do media also. And I do a lot of PR, so public relations, so PR campaigns, launch for businesses, things like that. So I work with businesses a lot. I also, work a lot with personal brands. Some, really senior executive founders and all of that. If you've seen some, obviously, I'm not going to mention names on this call, but there are certain brands that, you might know, right? And we are the ones behind everything you see of their public image and all of that. But again, we don't always mention names except in private conversations. So yeah, that's why I do that. What else? I mean, that's pretty much me. I'm just really living my life every day.
That's so nice. That's so nice. That's so nice. And probably one of the first questions that's because there was a day, I was just on, was it WhatsApp or what platform? Yeah, it was WhatsApp. I just looked at, profile. Look, I was like, I wanted to ask you a question maybe that day, but you might say, Victor, save it for the future. Save it for the future. So because I've known you now for a while, and I know you studied engineering, you studied chemical engineering, and that's strongly STEM. I know. I was like, how did you transfer from being a chemical engineer to everything you're doing currently? Like, how do you transition? How do you know you're supposed to be doing this? How do you know, this is something I can try? How do you get that?
Oh my God, that's an interesting question. No, I didn't know I could try. No, I didn't even think about it. And I always like to make that distinction that maybe there are some people who have a very, very clear idea what they want to do with their life. I was never one of those people. And even now, I never hold a position of, I know exactly, do you understand what I'm doing or what I'm going to be doing? I try to be very careful because as a fundamental principle that I've learned, I'm learning, right, to be very fluid, right? To be very fluid in the sense that I'm not unstable. They are different, right? So it's not that I'm unstable, but I'm flexible. Meaning that even as of last year, if you had asked me about what I do, I would not say PR, even though I'd been doing PR work. Do you see? I usually would not even talk about the work I do in media. In fact, so many people meet me on different levels and they have just an idea of what I do. They don't even know the other things. Do you understand? So I led, a media team for, a faith-based organization that has membership in over, 20 plus countries. I was leading a team of, I think over 60 people in different continents, right? And I did this for 2 years and a few months, right? And we did a lot of significant work, but I would not even introduce myself as someone that does work in media. Do you understand? Until I now had to start saying, wait, all these petty things you are doing, you better try to put them in one place. But I'm saying all of that to say that I'm not even, I didn't have like, oh, this is what I want to do, this way I'm going. No. So I studied chemical engineering because I really wanted to practice. So it was not a course that was given to me or a course that I was forced to know. When I left secondary school, I went to school immediately. So I think I had maybe like 3 months between WAEC and resuming, uni. And I was going to a university library. So my house is close to Covenant University in Ottawa. I was going to Covenant University Library to read chemical engineering textbook after secondary school. This is to show you how passionate I was. So I was so keen on practicing chemical engineering. So I even had a niche. I wanted to go into food processing because I felt like, okay, why are we wasting food? Why is food expensive? There's a lot we can do here. So that was the mind with which I went to university. So just to give you that background, right? And I left school, during NYC, I began to think about what I wanted to do in my life. And I felt like I didn't know. So at that point, I started to get, maybe the word is a bit scared and anxious because I was like, okay, so what am I going to do in my life after school? And, I even applied for MSc in Unilorin. Thank God. They gave me admission and they took it back. I'm back. I'm so happy that they did. Well, I wasn't even going to go. I think they even said we should come and write one exam. Me, I didn't go. As at that point, I'd already changed my mind. I wasn't going to do my MSc there. And I wanted to do an MSc in chemical engineering. So just to show you that this was where my mind was. Then I randomly got a job. I'm not going to go into all that story. I randomly got a job, in a tech company, an ed tech company to be precise. And, like they were literally chasing me because when I was still, I think they made me an offer 4 months or maybe 6. No, I think it's maybe like 6 or 8 months before NYC. Because I remember I had just started NYC. I was just settling into NYC when they made me an offer. But, I was serving in Osun State. The company was in Lagos and I don't like stress. So I was not going to be running up and down, be doing ghost copper. I did not have energy for that kind of thing. So I knew that, I was just going to chill. So I told them that, see, I'm still serving, blah, blah. They said, no problem. So like literally months in, the founder of the company will still call me. Are you available now? I say, now, wow, is this how you people used to give people job, And this was me that was really thinking about what I was going to do. And obviously, I mean, it's not like I knew what I was going to do fully in the company, but I knew what the company was doing and all of that. Anyways, long story short, I got into the company. I started working. I was working in core tech, coding, all of that, because we used to provide, STEAM infusion for schools, primary school, secondary school. So we created curriculums for them, created content, so facilitated all of those kinds of things. So I was doing that. And then at a point, I started to feel like, okay, why is it that we had just, so at the time, I don't know how many of you know Lagos or know, schools in Lagos. Corona Schools was our big client. So we had like an array of, what would you call this thing, of clients, right? So we had Corona in a class of their own, and then we had other smaller guys. And I remember just feeling like we've not gotten any new customers since I got to this company. Do you understand? Like any new school. So I was like, what's our problem? Why is our marketing failing? And again, at length, I hope I'm not deviating from your question.
No. Please go.
And I'd learned at the time that, ask your leaders for feedback and all of that. So I'd asked my then CEO if I could, have a section with him. Or no, I just asked him for feedback on my work, right? I think this was maybe a year-ish or a year and a half. I can't remember now. And he was like, oh, okay, let's have a meeting. Instead of him just texting me back, he was like, let's have a meeting. So we scheduled the meeting, and I came to the meeting expecting him to give me feedback, but he came to the meeting asking me what I wanted to do in my life. So we started that conversation. I mean, he's an easy to talk to person, so I have to put that there too. So we started the conversation, and I was telling him that, I feel like I want to do an MBA now. I feel like, so I was just speaking English. At the time, I started to read a lot about business development. I started to read about how businesses grow. So I also need to add that caveat. Now, I'm sure you still ask me questions about my Christian faith and all of that, right? But God has started to impress it on my heart. So it's not like I do not think that I'm that an interesting person that I just woke up and started reading something, God really started to impress it on my heart, right? And I just got curious and I started to read. So at the time of having this conversation, I was not telling him that I've actually been learning. And he was like, and then he gave me an advice that I'm so happy that I took. He was like, if you go for an MBA now with your limited work experience, you will not get the best out of it. So it was like, MBA classes are better when you have good work experience and you're able to relate. So he now said, you know what, let's move you from facilitating content and all of that to BizDev, that's business development. And I was like, I never even thought about that, to be honest. So it was when he said it, I said, okay, let's do that. So he now said, okay, but you have to you have to prove that this is a good decision, because we'll have to recruit somebody to replace you. Do you understand? So that other people don't feel like, they're just being, they're just favoring me and stuff like that. So I was like, well, remember guys, that the only thing I have is what I think I took some LinkedIn learning course and so remember I studied engineering. So it's not like I had any serious knowledge. Well, again, I was just really curious. I was like, okay, let's do it. So yeah, that move happened. I think 3 months from then, I was actually moved. The only problem was I thought I was going to join a team. Apparently, I was the team. That was really what happened. So that was how I got exposed, right? So, my then CEO sent me a lot of courses, so, I say it all the time that one of the major reasons why I can run my business is because that man pushed me. God, he pushed me. I learned so many things. I started doing accounting. So I went to go, I said I want to do biz dev. I want to do like marketing and all. I did marketing. I did sales. I was the one managing the accounts of the company. Like my chief of operations will be calling me to know who has paid and who has not paid. I was still doing social media management. I was doing digital marketing. Like there's nothing I did not do. It was so
God.
funny that when I was going to leave, I was scared because I was like, to be honest, how do I hand over everything I've been doing to somebody else? Because like even the chief of operations used to depend on me for stuff. Everything that has to do with clients, he used to depend on me because he knows that okay, it's Teresa that really knows what's happening there. Like you can imagine me from engineering, I'm the one preparing accounts. It's not like I went to go and learn it all. Everything was this man would just literally send me courses and say, oh yeah, do this, oh yeah, prepare this. I mean, and it really helps me because I feel like that was if I didn't have that kind of experience, I would have struggled. So there are things I do, that I recruited because I had to build the team at a point. I obviously couldn't do it. So I had to build the team. I set up teams in different locations. We set up in Abuja, we set up in Nigeria, in Jos, we set up in Port Harcourt. These were places that we didn't have any presence. So I got clients there, recruited people to stay there. I mean, we went for competition. We even won money. So I just remember I won money for this company. God. I'm looking for funding for my company right now. So that's why I just remember that I actually want money for some people. Let me go and wear that hat back because I need funding now. But that was really it. So I did so many things that weren't traditionally structured, right? So again, it was not a linear move. It was not a planned move. It was not a strategic move. It was just me just really living my life honestly and saying, you know what, whatever this is, just getting it done. I'm going to add this because it's important. You might be listening to this now, just feel like, oh, she's just really brilliant. No, it's not that. I promise you, I made a lot of mistakes. We lost money. I mean, lost money, right? But I had a boss who was patient. I had a boss who was willing to watch me grow. Now, we made money, a lot of money. I mean, like, go and ask them. I can give you their number to go and ask them. I made money for them and I know. Do you understand? But, I'm not going to now come and tell you it was all good. No, like I lost money. So, so that I can balance it. So, because again, it was a lot of trial and error, but I had a good boss. I had a boss who really was, he was ready to bring out the best in me. That's one side. Then the second is I was also willing to learn. I was willing to take a challenge. I was willing to take a bet on myself as they were taking a bet on me. Do you understand? Definitely made mistakes, but I mean, so it was not planned, but I'm where I am. So thank you.
Wow, that's a lot. Really, like you just learn from the streets, like you just learn from the experience. That's just a lot, just a lot. Like how many years do you spend in that company? I want to try to wrap my head that how many years you spend in the company to achieve that much.
So I started working 2019. Officially, I resumed, I think, August-ish. I left 2023 July. So that's roughly about 3 years-ish. Yeah, 3 or 4 years.
So can you see the original? Just 3 years. Just 3 years. You can learn and so after that, did you move to another company or you just started your company straight from that? Is it like from there to because I know I know when you were in Brainiac, I think I knew them, but I don't know, did you move to another company? Because I know you'd be off kick by that time. Everybody was like, I think I would need this person though.
I think it's good I even mentioned this. It's good I mentioned this. So I wanted to get another job and I was applying, and I wasn't getting any jobs. I got one offer, really juicy offer, but I just kept feeling something was off. And by the time I spoke to elders, corporate elders, spiritual elders, everybody was saying, just don't take it. You will get something better. Don't take it. So, and the first time I wanted to resign was maybe early 2022. So it's not like I just stayed there willingly. No, I wanted to leave since before I finally left. And I just kept hoping that I was going to get a really good offer, but I didn't get any job. I got offers. I kept saying no, sorry. I just remembered I got a number of offers, but they didn't feel like what I wanted to do. So I was like, nah, I'm not going to leave Brainiacs to come and be doing this. So there was that. And then maybe the kind of jobs I wanted, I didn't get. So it was just that whole tussle. But now, October 2022, I started my agency. Again, I didn't start as an agency. I didn't start as a business. I had people who needed sales, business advisory advice, sorry guys, business advice and all of that. And I was just like, oh, okay, let's have a conversation. I structure stuff for them. I said, okay, let's do this, let's do that. And, you know, they were getting results. And then it dawned on me one day that this is a business. Why are you treating it like you are just doing it for fun? You know, and I said, okay, you know what? So I started to actually make it a business. And then people started to come, to be honest, people started to come. So but I was still looking for a job whilst I was at Brainiacs, right? And then I think sometimes I said I left July, right? Yeah, it was July. Sometimes in June, I said, you know what? Now let me also put this here. At the time, my company was paying me more than what Brainiacs was paying me. My agency that I started. So I need to put that caveat. So I was making money. I had 2 staff at the time and I was paying them, right? So, and I just figured that, you know what? So I think sometimes in June or May or so, I can't remember. And I just felt like, you know what? There's no point waiting for another job. Let me go and be doing this because, yeah, my time was also, it was becoming a challenge combining both my job and, you know, my business. So I was like, you know what? Let me just focus on this business and hopefully I will still get a job, that kind of thing. And, you know, everybody I spoke to agreed. Again, I'm big on community, I'm big on counsel. So if I want to take a major decision, I'm want to present the decision to people that I trust. So, you know, I remember both my parents were like, you know what, it's actually about time, leave. And I, you know, just like I also had my concern about how to transfer all the things I've done to the company, because I was really worried. I didn't want the company to, because I mean, I don't want to go into all of that, but there were tendencies that things could fall through the cracks if I just left, you know. And I remember that was even my dad's concern too. My dad was like, okay, send a private message to your boss before you do the official resignation thing, you know, before you send him an email, you know, have a conversation with him, let him know that this is what you're thinking. Because he was like, and make sure that, you know, you drop templates, drop examples. Like my dad was really big on making sure the transition was seamless. And that's something that, you know, I really thank him for because he made me more intentional. I actually recruited my replacements. Yeah, wow. I recruited, yeah. So I took the time, recruited the guy, somebody that, you know, I was also learning to trust. He was the one I gave the longest access to me that, you know what, even if other people, I will not pick their calls because you know how these things can be. You could have left and they will still be calling you. So I was like, boy, you don't worry. If you call me, if you need stuff, I would really literally respond. So I took my time with him to sort of, you know, and I mean, he did really well. So I mean, he has left now, but I mean, I was so happy that, you know, he was the person I picked to replace me and all of that. So yeah, so I spoke to him, just like I said, my parents, you know, were happy with it. Other people I spoke to too were like, oh yeah, good, you know, decision. So that was really how I left. And I didn't go to another company. I went straight into just, you know, running my business. But just like I said, I'd been running it before then.
Wow, that's really great. That's really great. You know, as we were just discussing this thing, my Lagos mind was just running through my head about expenses in Lagos, building business and all that. I know business can be interesting, like when you are doing something that you love and you're seeing results in it. But how do you manage money? Like me personally, because for you to be any more in a new company that you're starting than how much they are paying you, how do you manage that pressure? Because there's a lot of pressure when it comes to finances. Like how do you manage that pressure to just grow and come to a point where you can't really stay on your own? How do you manage that pressure during that time?
Okay, so I do not consider myself an expert, you know, in this area, but a few things, and again, just going to be sincere. Interestingly, I had just rented my own space around this time, meaning I had just started to pay house rent. I was not paying house rent before, right? Because I was living with a family in Lagos and, you know, they're very kind to me and all of that, but I felt I needed to get a place. So you can imagine that I was making this decision when I was now, you know, having to pay rent, and which meant obviously I was now actively feeding myself. So a lot, I was going to be spending more than where I was coming from. But honestly speaking, one of the things I knew was that if anything happened, I will go back to my father's house. So I'm not going to lie to you guys. That was one of the things that gave me courage, because I'm like, you know, I tease my parents about it all the time that you could, you know, even ask me if I had money. I told you I wanted to resign and you were like, yes, resign. You could, you know, even ask me that. Will you eat? Do you have money to feed? But yeah, so there was that. So I honestly just thought I did the maths and I was like, okay, we had paid the first year rent. It was that what happens, I will leave the house and go back to my father's house. Thank God my work is from home. I will be working from his house. Do you understand? So I actually had that buffer, right? And I knew that to a large extent, if I really needed anything that was extra, I knew that I could call my parents, and that's something I don't take for granted. But whilst there's that, right, I also feel like, especially with things like resignation and starting a business, remember that at the time I was leaving, I think I had run my business for maybe about 8 or 9 months. So there's that. So I wasn't just starting. That's one. Two, I had gotten a lot of experience, even though it was not structured, but I had gotten a lot of experience. I had learned how to chase people until they agreed to, to buy what I'm selling. I had learned how to stay.
Yes.
Yeah, exactly. So I'd learned how to chase people for money. Do you understand? So even though, sometimes now I even have to call myself that is like, I'm a bit too chilled. But again, I mean, there are faces to these things. And, right now for us too, there are certain projects I can't take on, not because I don't want to and not because I don't even need the money, but I need to also be sure that I can deliver. Do you understand? Because of the other workload.
Yes.
And that's just the dilemma of agency work. If you've ever experienced or interacted with agencies, especially marketing agencies, it can be crazy because you can be working with 50 different brands in different industries. So you can imagine that you have to know what's happening in all of these different industries. So it can be a lot, right? So there was that, right? So I have to say there was that. So I already mentioned there was the fact that I felt like I had a safe, space at home. There's that. And then my business had been running for a bit, so it was not necessarily a trial and error. Yes, it was in one sense, but it wasn't in terms of my own capacity. I knew what I could do, right? So I was not testing what I can do because I had done it somewhere. I had got a lot of clients that were nowhere close to this company before. I had launched successful products. We had created new products from scratch and marketed it. So so there was all of that I had done this. And remember again, I told you that I did literally everything a business owner should do in that company. So it was not like I made decisions of who to fire and who to hire. Do you understand? So my CEO would literally defer to me. He would be like, okay, what do you think? There was some, it's interesting that somebody was recruited to lead me because the person had extra business business development expertise. And remember again, I was just learning and my boss knew. So they needed even me, I was happy to get support because that thing was a lot. So I was not even trying to be proud. If I saw somebody who was an expert, I was happy to work with the person. This person they recruited frustrated me because the person was not delivering. Like I was not the one having to provide the strategy. So you can imagine there was one day that I was almost in tears. I called my boss and it was like, I've been watching. I know, don't worry, we're sending him away like now. Like, because I was like, I thought you guys told me that this person was really good. And that was why I didn't even interfere with that particular decision. I was like, please bring the person in. I actually need somebody else that could help and all of that. So that just shows you how I have literally been thinking like a business owner. That's where I'm going. So I wasn't thinking like like a career person that is working in a company. I was thinking, when I was making decisions, I was making from the perspective of this could either make or break us. So I feel like all of those things were transferable. So you can say that, there was that level of, okay, I mean, there will still be mistakes. There's no straight line. So there's all of that. So there's that. The final thing I would say is really just also trying to manage yourself and not overextend yourself financially, right? Knowing exactly what you can afford and what you can't afford, and just focusing on what is most important, to be honest, right? Because if you are building a business, you cannot only be thinking about now. Do you understand? So you have to constantly be thinking about the future. And if you are thinking about the future, it means that there are actions you will be taking that is in line with that future. So what that means in essence is there's a way you will build when you know you want this thing to last. Do you understand? So even when there's financial pressure, there are certain things you would have to forego. There are certain things you have to, delayed gratification, to be honest, right? So there's all of that. But I feel like for me, I cannot rule out the place of a supportive community. That's something I cannot rule out. Do you get? I feel like having a supportive community. Okay, I think the final thing I will add is I typically take retaining projects or retainers. So I avoid one-off projects, which means that I lock you into at least a 6-month contract. Wow. There are only few times where I would agree to do maybe 3 months or one-off. And do you understand? It's so clear. So what that also means is I have buffer, I have cash flow. Because even if I'm looking for bigger gigs and all, I am rest assured of what will come in every month because of my retainers. Do you see? So at the time of giving, so I had retainers. So I knew that, okay, at the end of every month, this is how much will come in. And I could plan on that, okay, for at least a year. So I'm not planning on hope and what I will make extra. Do you understand? I'm planning on what I'm already sure is coming. So I think from the very start, I had been running retainers, and I don't even know where I learned it. Maybe again it's Brainiacs, but I had been running retainers. So I could predict what cash flow would be at the very base. Do you understand? Whilst I'm now actively looking for other clients.
Yeah, very, very good, very, very good. As we're speaking, I noticed that there's an attitude to these things, apart from just the science of it. And there's a kind of mindset that you want to talk about things you don't need to buy, things you need to buy. This kind of courage you have to, like, okay, I think when is the best time to move on, when is the best time to do this and this, that. And that brings me back to where I first met you, as in school. And our relationship around church and fellowship, I do feel like sometimes people feel like, how is your walk with God, your spiritual life? According to these people, very fun people, they say your religious life, how does that affect your business? How does it affect your career? How does it really add value? Like those things, or you feel like, oh my, I wasted time in school, that I'll just go straight into this. What do you think about that? Sorry, I still muted.
Yes. Okay. So I would say that we have just one life, and it must be lived for God. So there's nothing like I have a spiritual life and I have a business life or I have a career life. There's nothing like that. I have one life, and that life must be lived for God. Everything must stem out of my worship to God. So that has to be a foundation. So I'm not building a business as a separate entity. It is me in worship to God, because scripture actually says that we were created for his pleasure, meaning that whatever my life becomes, whatever my life is worship to God first. Everything else that can flow out is just flowing out. So it is not my spiritual life. It is that my devotion to God is all I have. Here we like go. You know how, I think it was Peter, James, and John that were like, I don't understand. Where do you want us to go? Like, it's only you that have the bread of life. Or is it the word of life now? Sorry, I can't remember which they said, but I think it was word of life, right? Like this, because you know what? Jesus looked at them and said, would you go the way others have gone? They were like, no. Where will we go? It is you that actually have what we need. So, as against thinking about it from my spiritual life or whatever it is that my life is for God. God is my creator. Like, I say it all the time, like that. What do I know in this life? How old am I that I will now think I know what I want to do by myself? That's a very dangerous place to live. Like, at the end of the day, I don't really know. The only person that I can trust absolutely to know is God. And that's why I say you cannot be arguing with scripture. You just came here. When did you get to this earth? You will not be arguing with scripture. I'm like, how do people even do these things? Like, you have mind. You just got here. What do you even really know about this life, if we're being honest? You're not arguing with scripture that the person that made this world told us that let's do it like this. You now said you know what you want to do. You will do the opposite way. But it's just what it is. If you think about it, I feel like one of the things the devil does is to deceive our minds from the simplicity of this gospel.
Yeah.
Because if you think about it practically, we don't know Jack. If God does not help us, what are we going to do? All of us will just look at how have you thought about how depraved the world is, the kind of evil that is happening in the world? Doesn't it make you just shudder in such awe that if God does not help a person, if God does not regulate you, you can turn the world to something else. And it should literally keep us humble, keep us going back to God to say, Lord, just help me. So I would say that, sorry, I know that I don't think I'm asking your question, but let me try and answer now. But I feel like, no, I think it's important. No, I'm not diverting. It's actually important because we must not see our spiritual experience as one thing that we're doing. Everything else flows from there. That spiritual experience is our anchor. It's our anchor.
Yeah.
I promise you, there are things I don't do, or there are things I have to caution myself from. I'm not even talking about sin or anything. I mean, like just lifestyle habits, right? That I have to caution myself for. And the reason is because I just feel like this is not how God wants me to live my life.
Mm.
You see, there's a regulation that working with God gives you that is priceless. It's not something you can buy. So my spiritual journey, or for lack of a better word, from school, like I don't have another life outside, the honest truth. So I can't even say, oh, maybe impacted. Like I feel like it is the foundation, and not as a past tense, but as a present tense. I can tell you for a fact that this afternoon today, I have still been like Jesus if you don't help me. Like I came home, as I entered the house, I remember that I have, some scripture study I need to do today that I have not done. And it's already past 8. Do you understand? And as I entered and I was just, literally just taking my bag to the room, I literally was just saying to myself that I heard something yesterday and I was repeating it to myself, that if you don't have fire and fervency as a leader, you are a danger to the work of ministry. And I was telling myself, so you must find time to read that scripture because you cannot survive without it. So and no, just in case you would think I have it all figured out, no, I don't. I promise you, I don't. It's a daily cry that, God, you have to help me. Because at the end of the day, what are we living for? What are we really living for? The reason why I need to expand my business is because I feel like I have a responsibility to God and to his agenda. Just this evening, I was speaking with somebody and my heart was breaking because this person was in the middle of a lot of problem. And I was like, this is why I need money in this life. This is somebody that I know how much I can just say, okay, first take first. Because you could see that, and it's not maybe a self-inflicted problem. It's, when you're in the middle of a lot of family problems and you're like, money will first help. Before we first start saying, okay, what can we do differently? This person needs money first. And I'm like, this is really why we're doing some of these things. It's not because of anything. It's that God has something to do. And what will I be doing if I'm not in the center of what God is doing in my generation? I can't imagine. So I hope if I don't answer your question, I've answered something. So
no, that was a good one. That was a good one. Like marrying your life together. Like I'm just one person, and as the name of the podcast is divine life. Like divine, everything flows from divine, and you just see the fruits everywhere. The branch, like it's your foundation. It's how you get inspiration. It affects how you think. Personally, when I do Bible study, I discovered that when I read other things, I read like I'm reading the Bible. You know how we used to read Bible in school then? Say, what is this verse trying to say? And I think it's actually like it's kind of set us apart even when we get to secular one and how we view problems, how we view give a brief to read, to give a document to read, how detailed we are when we are doing Bible study, and we write what we understand by it. I think it actually really helps my ability to like comprehend and follow in meetings. And I've been in campus, like school fellowships in secondary school, where we used to attend long meetings, like long meetings from secondary school. And all these days, my mom would say I should fast on Friday, so I used to fast on Friday. So I will not eat and I'll be attending meetings. And I think in unit, we should attend a lot of long meetings like that. So, when you get to the corporate world, when you start meeting people like meeting, people like talking. And some people they will say, okay, I'm a tech person. I don't like this talk, 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 talk. I think that really helps me to be patient when people are just talking. I can stay here for hours. I've been here. It's no longer new. And really, then when I come about bringing contribution to me, I think one of the things that actually really helped me is that when I'm in a new place, because I've been in new places a lot of times, and I've met people that who are above me, who are probably seniors from school, who are more intelligent. And then I've discovered that when I give contribution, they find it useful. Just kind of builds my self-confidence to speak in public, to speak in places where necessarily people of my age will not want to talk, or people in my level will not want to contribute. Because I've contributed in the past before and decided it makes sense. I think so let me kind of have this confidence that maybe when I say things, it should make sense. So, and I think that's one of the things that personally, maybe that my own things that I really gained from my school experience and all that. I want to ask you another question. Have you ever felt like you are doing too much for let me quote unquote your age? Because if I say I'm starting my own business now, African mindset, you say, now, when I read your I say you help businesses, you help, people just like, wait, how many years do you have said you want to help businesses? I'll see you go. No, I saw this, but the time I saw you like in LBS, I think you gave a lecture, you just connected down, like, I was saying like that. People ask you like, how much have you made? Like, how people like, how do you like believe so much in yourself that I say that what I'm building will last? I'm just a game changer in this particular game. So how do you do those kind of things?
Oh my God, that's such an interesting question. And I have to also say that it's a work that doesn't end. And that's the honest truth. I don't even think that I believe in myself as much as I ought to. And that's me just being honest with you. You know, let me say this. I mean, if you guys don't find it funny, I find it funny anyway. So yesterday I was supposed to lead opening prayer for an event, and the moment they said I should lead the opening prayer, I was like, no, please. If you see all the English I was typing, that I'm not doing opening prayer. You would think is something. You think it was online, or you would think I was climbing a stage, right? But I felt like, so it was opening prayer for a group of leaders in a place I feel like these people they know stuff. Waiting at one point they leave them to pray. That was really how I felt, When I led the prayer, and as I was trying to just pray to say, okay, God, just take charge, help my heart, point me in the direction you want us to pray in. It just dawned on me again that we must never get used to like serving, especially as a leader. We must never, make it ordinary. I don't know if you guys understand what I mean. Like, even though you believe in yourself and all of that, right? You must never enter into the place of now belittling those moments or feeling like you have grown so much that those things become small in your eyes. I think it's important not to do that, especially if you're a young person, because I promise you, whatever you have seen, you have not even started. You still have a lot ahead of you. And so you must be able to balance humility with confidence. So I wanted to establish that. I would say it's a daily work. Yeah. There are times, the first time I had to facilitate a section at LBS, I mean EDC actually, Enterprise Development Center. So Pan Atlantic University is a university that has LBS, Lagos Business School, and Enterprise Development Center. So my facilitations are with Enterprise Development Centers because, they are the enterprise school for businesses, SMEs, right? So the very first time I was trepidated, for lack of a better word, I was shaking. I called my parents, I called my friends, they were doing prayer chain. I'm not kidding you, because I was scared, because I felt like this thing you're asking me is exactly how I felt. I was like, do I really know enough? These people, like, and typically, 95% of the class are older than I am. I have taken maybe 6 or 7 classes in that institution, and 95% of the class. I have been a judge for a business pitch competition with Bank of Industry, and people pitching like,
God.
yes, now they were like, they are big shots. I was the judge. How much do I have? This was even like when 2024. So yes, 2024, 2025. I can't remember now. No, it was 2024. It was not last year. So you can imagine how much do I really have? How much have I really made? If I'm being honest. Do you see? So
Sure.
what I'm going to say is, it's a daily work. I don't think you ever get to a point where you will feel like, oh, you know, you have arrived. For example, Pastor Debola Didikurumi is like somebody I really look up to, right? And I have heard her say, if you've ever listened to DDK, you will know how fiery she is, how very, and I've heard her say that there are times when she's like, oh God, like, do you get, there are times when she actually feels like, oh, how am I going to do this? So if DDK at that level feels that way, so I mean, I'm like, I'm good, I'm okay. So it's a daily work. So you don't ever come to a place where you're not feel like, oh, you would always, and if you are not even meeting new challenges, then it means you're not growing. Constantly be put in a place where you're like, this one is new, I need to quickly regroup. But it does not now mean that you will now lock yourself out and feel like you don't belong. Even if you are afraid, you will still go there. You can be shaking, but still go. So do you see, that's the balance. So whilst there's all the, I'm not going to, I mean, I'm sure you guys read books and all of that, so I'm not going to be telling you how to believe yourself. Down, go and read your Bible and read the books you are reading. But it is that even when you don't feel like it, you still go. In fact, you put yourself in places that pushes you to come out of what you were before. So I feel like that's really it. You just keep pushing yourself, never staying, never really, just don't settle. Whatever you do, keep aiming for the next step. Like, it is dangerous. How can you be a young person and you don't have something driving you? You don't have something that makes you feel like, you know what, there's more. Like, you have to actually have something burning in your heart. And I think that thing, it conditions you. So even if you are saying, like, whilst I understand the place of confession and all of that, I feel like a stronger thing that pushes you to go is a vision that is burning. You will be afraid, but you will still show because of that vision that is burning. When there's something burning in your heart, it makes you forget about age, all of those things, right? And it just helps you. Now, the balance to that is also learn. Let people say, one of the things that I always try to do, right? And I'm sure you guys have seen me do it here already. If I don't know something, I will be like, oh, I don't know this yet. I don't know. So you can ask me a question and I'm like, I don't know the answer to this one. I can go and read the up, but as at now, I don't know the answer. Do you understand? And I never, because again, sometimes I'm training people that have 10 years work experience. I told you guys, I started my career in 2019. This is what you calculate it. I'm training people that have 15 years work experience. You know, some people they work for 20, 25 years, then they leave and want to start their businesses. And they have issues. So they come for classes like this. So I'm telling you that I have trained people that are probably almost as old as my parents.
Wow.
So, but what that means is I learn from them too. I ask them questions. I engage them. So for me, the way I facilitate, you know, especially my sales and marketing classes, is I get you thinking also. So I don't come and just be preaching at you. It's not a sermon. I get you thinking. I get you involved. And I'm learning from the things you're sharing. So sometimes I hear something and I'm like, oh, okay, I've not thought about it that way. And I go and try it in my own business. Remember, again, I'm building a business too. So it's not like I've really arrived. It's not so. So I think you just also have to understand, you know, I teach and I think I do a good job at it, because I am yet to teach a class where people did not even say they don't want to go. I'm like, me that me talking since morning, you don't want to go. Me, I'm tired. If people don't want to go, me, I'm tired. You see? So, and I mean, one of the reasons why they keep calling me back is because obviously people are giving good feedback about. So I know that I do a good job of teaching, right? I've not even, you know, I've not even harnessed that potential as much as I ought to. And, you know, this me just being honest with you guys, but I know it's there. So that is also something, right? So I know that I'm not, if you put me in a room to teach, I will very likely flourish. Do you understand? So I also know that. So when I do things like that, is I'm also leaning into an area of strength. Do you understand? So I need to layer that. I think the final thing would just be what I said earlier. Just do it anyways. This evening, right? This evening, you mentioned that I'm deputy director for, administration in, an organization. And I promise you again that I'm the youngest person in that, like, in that senior leadership level. I'm the youngest person. Yes. Today, I was somewhere, the ministry had an event, right? And I was somewhere and, when, again, people want to call you with titles and all of those things. But again, because I know I'm very young, my name is Teresa. Please don't complicate my life for me. How old am I? Just call me Teresa. Especially with somebody that is very older than you. Yes, I'm like, I beg. Just call me by my name. So, and at a point, I was already, even when I was going, I was like, God, I beg. Because these people will now be thinking that I'm one very serious human being, that I really know what I'm doing. Will be expecting to call. I'm like, I beg. Like, I'm just really just coming here. I want to chill and hang out, do everybody else coming to hang out. I'm not trying to come and be deputy director here. Do you understand? Because again, this is not even my role. Like, this is like another unit organizing an event. And I'm just attending because, I also like, it's a location-based thing, and I live in that area. Do you understand? So I'm not coming here as deputy director. I'm coming here as a member of this location, thingy. So, and you know how as people were speaking, things were happening. I remember just thinking to myself again that how did I even get here? Because there was just such a weight of responsibility. Because I felt like, even though remember I told you guys that this is not like where I'm overseeing. But there was just this weight of responsibility, like, God, there's so much that still needs to be done. Like, how am I even here? How do I help all these people? Because at the end of the day, if you're serving in anything that looks like a ministry, you know that the work is the people first. Even though I work in administration, so we are very, very administration and operational. That's like my core. So I'm not dealing with people per se. Dealing with people, I have a team. You get what I mean? But like, when it comes to administration, that's where we sit. That's where, my role sits in. But at the same time, just this burden of God, like, there's so much that still needs to happen. Do you understand? And that feeling, I don't even know so much, if we're being honest. I don't really like, I'm literally just figuring out my life. And that's the honest truth. That's the honest truth. I'm literally just figuring out my life. I have questions that I don't have answers to. I'm going to God every day saying, you have to help me because I don't know what I'm going to do about this. I don't know what I'm going to do about that. Do you understand? But
yes,
if you have been called, you were anointed. As long as you know for it. Yeah. So I didn't start my business because I just felt it was a good idea. I also started because I knew God was saying do it.
Yeah.
Till tomorrow, every opportunity that comes, I always, and it's something my dad always reminds me to do. And I'm thankful for that reminder because he would literally say, there's a reason why this is happening, and you should respond. When you are a spiritual person, right? And you guys understand, I don't mean you are praying 10 hours, all those things, please. I mean, you are living your life in submission to the Holy Spirit. You know that it's very unlikely that things will not be happening to you anyhow. That you just say it's a coincidence. It just happens. No. A life in the Spirit means that there's a level of influence the Lord has on your life, which means that to a large extent, you have an expectation that when things come to you, God is aware. God is aware. God is aware.
Yes.
I'm currently in the middle of what you would call a very stretching season that I'm trying to figure out, how to actually manage stuff. I was teasing somebody a few days ago that if anybody asked me how I'm managing my time, I'll say I'm not managing it. Even me, I don't know I don't know what my time is doing right now. I'm just trying to live every day. Do you understand? But it's so there's that, right? So it's not a case of, I think, let me try to summarize. Humility is key. Yes. Humility is key. And humility is not it's not degrading yourself.
Yeah.
It's not. Humility is also not stepping back and feel like, oh, we are not deserving. It's not that. Humility is, I'm going to step into this role you have given me, but I'm stepping into it knowing that you would help me. I'm not stepping into it feeling like I know everything to do. I'm stepping into it with an openness of heart that God, you would help me. And it's across board. I know I'm making it sound like spiritual things, but no. I currently started a project, right? That is a stretch. Okay. Like a work project is a stretch. And every time I remember, I pray again, Jesus, I need your help. Any minute I have and I remember, I call the project, I pray over the project, I say, God, please guide me. Because it's not like I can just come and say, oh, I know exactly what to do. Do you understand? Because sometimes it's just one idea that skyrockets your results. And you can be thinking billion and one things. So whether it's with, oh, I need to believe in myself, I need to have that burning vision in your heart.
Yeah.
Push yourself, right? Always go for more, but be humble. Be humble enough to say, I don't have all the answers, but I'm willing to learn.
Yes. Wow, that's fantastic. That's fantastic. Thank you so much. Thank you so much. I think this is something that everybody can pick up. That's even no matter where you are, humility is understanding that I will pick up the work. God will help me. I'm going to push it on. It's not like I have everything figured out. It's not like, oh, I just, I'm just that very good. But I think I'm here because I'm anointed for it. I think that part of anointing is very much important. Understanding that, okay, God has called me to do this. It's not just a good idea. I'm sent for this. So I want to give room for, because the way I've marketed this live session, I'm going to ask questions. So I want to give you a very short window to ask questions. I will just take just one or two questions. I'm so sorry. If you think, okay, yeah, I have a question about this, and expect us to have questions, but I didn't exhaust my own question. So if you do not drop your question now, I'll ask my own last question before you go. Okay, thank you so much. You can unmute Bro Praise. Thank you very much. And then Isaac after Bro Praise. Yeah. You can go on, Praise.
All right, good evening. Please confirm you can hear me.
Yes, clearly.
All right, fantastic. Thank you very much, Ms. O'Day, for the session. It was very insightful. I feel very pumped. I think I can build an empire right now. That's what I feel like. So I wanted to ask here, how would you advise that someone facilitate the amount of learning you got from, working with that company experientially, for someone who doesn't have the opportunity to, say you're working for a company and you don't have the opportunity to work practically or experientially in the business development arm. I'm looking to create something myself, and I'm just wondering, how can I facilitate that much learning, right? Can I get that theoretically, or do I necessarily have to attach myself experientially to a business or to a business development department, something like that?
Okay, thank you, Praise. That's a really beautiful question. I'm going to say you don't have to, right? I mean, you might not have space or an opportunity to do that, and it's fine. Yes, get all the theoretical knowledge you can get. I always advocate to read as much as you can, interact. I would say have conversations. I feel like sometimes we underestimate how much we can learn from people's experience. And you see, I said have conversations. I didn't necessarily say go and look for a mentor, because I feel like we bastardized that whole mentorship thing. So if you have people around you who run businesses, even if they failed, just have conversations, just everyday conversations. Oh, how did you do this? Oh, what did you learn? And you need to know how to ask people questions. Sometimes when you don't ask good questions, people can also answer well. Do you understand? But sometimes you ask people questions that not make them think. So have conversations with people. If you have the opportunity to be in rooms where people who have been running businesses, ask them questions. But see, your best learning is to go and do it. Now, What I will now say is, don't go and take people's plenty money to start your first venture. So that one, I will never, like, if someone come and pitch anything to me and you don't even, I'm like, go and do something that doesn't need money first.
My God.
That's my rule of thumb. You cannot have not handled money and created something, and then you just wake up and say you want to run a business, and then people come and invest. Invest for why? Invest for what? You take your own money, take your food money and invest first. Let's see what you do. No, it's the truth now. And I feel like we young people, we can be very audacious. You just wake up and say, you need 1 million, or you need 3 million, or you need 10 million to launch your idea that is in your mind. Because what? You read about Paystack, they built an app, and then they... So I would say that do something. Look for the smallest, what tech people call MVP, the minimum viable, version of that idea, and do it.
Yeah.
That's your biggest learning experience. If you don't have the opportunity to learn in another person's company, go and learn that way. The final thing will be, you can take up internships. You can do 1 month, 2 months, 3 months. So
Great.
People come to my organization and they don't pay me. I just really want to see what it feels like, to work in this kind of environment, work with different clients and all of that. So I'll say that, learn, theoretical learning, do something. Look for the smallest version. Your goal is to grow, but you don't necessarily have to start at the top. Do you understand? Because the reason why I'm saying this is because it might look like it's just, nice sounding, idea or nice sounding stuff to say. But I promise you, if you have not done something with very little money and grown it, you would actually waste the money they give you. Except you go and hire somebody who has experience, you would waste the money. And it's not because you're a bad person. It's because businesses they will test everything you have. You now add that you are doing it in Nigeria. It will test everything you have. So if you go and collect people's money, I mean, if it's your money, the worst that happens, you probably drink Gary and you manage yourself. But if you go and collect people's money, you will not be having that kind of. So I would say that look for the most smallest way to start. And if you really feel like it would help you, go and do an internship. 2 months, 3 months, just something short. It might not even be every day. It might be like, you have an agreement with them 2 days a week. Do you understand? You show up, learn about stuff, take up challenging stuff. And if you're in a 9 to 5, you can actually bite more than you can chew. Sometimes we don't have experience because we did not ask. Yes. It's not necessarily that there's no opportunity within that company for you to get some experience. It's that you probably didn't ask. You're just doing your own work. Remember I told you that I actually, it was a conversation. If not, I would have probably still stayed in EdTech and I probably would never have started my business. Yes, now it's possible. So you see that I initiated what became this journey, even though it was not like I planned it. It was that, remember I told you, I was asking for feedback. Do you see? So, and I was open to try new stuff, take up new challenges. So sometimes experience is not that somebody will come and give you an opportunity. Sometimes you will ask for the opportunity. Sometimes, guys, let me reiterate this just in case you didn't hear earlier. I felt like we were not growing customers. That was where this whole thing started from. That was what pushed me to read. It was not first Jesus, so it was that whole process of why don't we have another, like, we've not gotten any new customer. If this corona school leave us, what will happen to us? Will this company not close down? It was that thought that I started saying, wait, what does it even take to find customers? These people in business development and sales and marketing, what are they doing? That was actually what it started from. So sometimes, and the example that just flashed in my mind is David. David could have gone, given his brother food and went home. Did God appear to David at any time and say, my son, here is your opportunity to kingship? That kingly role that you were anointed for. Yes, it never happened. You'd never heard that God came and said, David. But you know what happened? David could have also allowed the sheep, the bear and the lion to eat the sheep. He could have. That was his 9 to 5. He went to, because why waiting concern you? The ones that happen is the fish dish. Your own life and the sheep life, which one is more important? Let the sheep die. You went to go and fight a lion. Why? It looks graphic, but sometimes we have opportunities to fight lions and bears and we chicken out. We don't take it.
Mm.
So let me give you an example. Your company maybe they want to launch something new, but it's not your department, so you are not involved. It's as basic as that. Maybe there's a new product and you are like, ask about it. Even if you cannot immediately contribute, be aware of what's happening. That's curiosity. So let me give you again a very graphic example. If you work in a company that is really big and structured and you have very structured teams, when teams are giving reports in maybe a general stand-up, ask questions, listen, don't zone out once your own unit is done. That's how you also know what other people are doing and see, oh, this is something I can learn from.
Yeah.
I believe I've answered your question. Please, Isaac, go ahead.
Okay, thank you very much for the conversation so far. I actually learned a lot of things from your conversation. So, but basically, my main question is this, because you mentioned that in the previous place you worked at before, yeah, you guys launched some products, a lot of them did well, a lot of them were successful and stuff. So there's this question that's been bugging me because me and Victor are currently working on something. So we currently have an MVP for a product we're looking at launching, and for the second project, we're actually conducting some market survey. Yeah? So the thing is, because I was watching a podcast, I've forgotten the name of the podcast, but one of the people that was invited to the podcast is, I don't know if you would know him, the CEO of Activator HQ, John Iwaha or something like that. So he was saying that in Nigeria, you can't launch businesses or launch a product, a tech product in Nigeria the way you would in, let's say, America or in Europe, because in Nigeria has a very unique way of operating. And the thing is that in Nigeria, culture will eat strategy for breakfast. That was literally his quote. So, like, the thing is, because everybody's talking about product market fit, product market fit, but what does that really mean? Because to me, it feels more like you actually have to build something that doesn't just, how do I say, dictate how people utilize your product or how people react to the service you offer, but rather build on the existing culture, the existing, like, method of interaction, or the existing basically culture of that economy. So could you just, like, explain how you guys were able to tailor your projects or your services or your products in such a way that it will actually fit into the Nigerian economy and people will actually be eager to use your product? Because that's where a lot of projects fail.
Yeah.
That's a really brilliant question and it's a masterclass question. So I will start with where you ended, right? Because when you were beginning, I was already thinking like a facilitator, but as you ended with, I should share my own experience, I will share my experience and leave the rest to you. You know, so start with a problem, not a product.
Okay.
Always. Don't build a product and then be looking for people who can use the products. Identify a problem and build a product for that problem. So that's the first thing. So you don't cook up an idea and say, come and be pushing it down people's throats. You see all the problem they have in and say, okay, which one can I solve? Right. So that's the first thing. Now, again, I promise you that the money I used to register my business is money people paid me. It's not like I went to go and use my money. And this me just being honest. Obviously, I've gone on to invest my own money and all, but I'm telling you that, like, I was pursuing my market from the very start.
Okay.
So it was the market solution that I was giving. Do you understand? I was informing everything I've done. Till tomorrow, decisions I've made have been largely based off on client requests. Recurring client requests. Do you understand? So just having to understand what my customers need is what has expanded our business portfolio.
Okay.
Do you understand? So that's really it. So it's literally about listening to my customers. Now, the balance to that is sometimes people don't yet know they need something. But as a visionary, you can see that they need this thing and you can start.
Yeah, that's
So there's
the
that
point that's
balance.
tricky.
So there's that balance. You need to identify. But even when I mean people don't know, it's not that you bring something to it. Now they are said they are. So there's also something where a market might not be ready for a product.
Yeah.
But in another 2 years, they will be ready. So
Yeah.
timing is also key. But even with all of this, there must be a validity that this is either a current problem or is a possible future problem. It must be clear. So you cannot just cook up something and there's no trace that this can be or ever be a problem. And you now feel like it's going to sell. So you must be able to, and I would say that the moment you have an MVP, test it on the actual users.
Okay.
Speak to your users a lot. You can go and have a conversation with a user and they give you ideas that you would never have thought about if you just sat in your cocoon trying to build your products. So like build with your user in mind from the beginning. If like, do you get, have conversations with your users, be aware of their problems. Let their problems literally engulf you. It will shape how you are thinking about building a solution for them. So product market fit is extremely critical. Extremely critical. I always say, look for customers before you start building products. Have customers. Be sure that people actually need this thing. And in cases where it's like, okay, they may not know they need it, there must be a way you can test. There must be a way you can test. So that would be yours to figure out, you know, based off on the uniqueness of what you're trying to build.
Okay. Okay, thank you very much.
You're welcome.
Fantastic. I think I should be charging for my podcast. Now, all these business questions people are asking me. So really, as I've said earlier, like Teresa Day is a business coach. These are lines. This is what she does. And really, someone that if you want to book a session with, I don't know, she has a company that are very top-notch people. I'm also looking for opportunity to come and I want to also consult them very soon. As you've heard from Isaac, I have a lot of business ideas that I'm trying to come up with. So really, I have another question, but I think Joanna said she has a question. So Jojo, I don't know if you still have a question, or I should call it a day because it's time. Yeah, Joanna, are you still there?
Yes, I'm here, sir. Thank you very
All right.
much. Yes, thank you, Ms. Teresa, for this powerful and insightful session. It has really encouraged me in a lot of ways. So my question is on your season of transitioning. Yeah, in those moments of transitioning from your desires in chemistry and chemical engineering, because I heard you say that you had a lot of things
Sorry,
you
can you
wanted to do.
project a bit? I'm struggling to hear you. If you could just speak a bit louder.
Okay, is it better now?
Yes, it is. Thank you.
Hello, can you hear me?
Yes, it's better. Go ahead.
All right, thank you very much. So I was saying that I want to ask about your season of transitioning, because you said you had desires in chemical engineering, but then after school, after NYSC, you found yourself in another field. So did you have any interest in that field in the beginning, or you picked up interest as you went on? And if you did not have interest, how did you handle those moments as you went on? Thank you.
Wow. Did I have interest? I don't know. I can't remember honestly. I don't know. But what I do know is I learned very early that whatever my hand finds to do it well and do it with all your hearts. So thankfully I haven't really had a career experience where how some people hate their jobs but they are doing it because of money. I haven't really had that. Have I been tired? Have I been overwhelmed? Yes, but not that I feel like, oh, I don't like this. And I think one of the things that has helped me is I have bought into the vision of every place I have worked in. I have actually tried to buy into the vision, believe in what they are doing. Do you see? So when I got to this company, I remember that I literally had to have a conversation with God about why this was, how this mattered to him. So what this company is doing, is it really important? Like in the grand scheme of things, in your agenda, is this thing really making sense? And it encouraged my heart when, I started to see the problems our educational sector has and what infusing tech can do. So he left the place of, oh, this is my 9 to 5. It became a personal passion. Now I have left EdTech. The best is maybe somebody's doing something in EdTech and they ask me a question and I just share my thoughts. Do you understand? I've not done anything in EdTech since I left Greenyards. But this is showing you that while I was there, I sold these products like my life depended on it because I believed in it. And that's why when, obviously I left product and all of that. So when the product guys, if they give me nonsense, I don't used to agree for them. If anybody is doing rubbish, whether it's a facilitator or anybody, we had tutors and all of that. If anybody does anyhow, I will suffer to get a client. You will not come and be doing anyhow and spoiling my work. I don't used to like. So I used to put pressure on everybody, all the other things, because I'm like, I cannot go and you cannot come and tell me that you built a robot, the robot is not working. Robot that I've gone to sell to somebody and I've told them the robot can do everything in this world. You are not telling me the robot is not working. Guy, you will find a way to make it work. Do you see? And it's because I genuinely cared about what we're trying to do. I believed in it. I wanted it to work. I wanted it to be good. So I think that buying into the vision or whatever you're doing is important. And I feel like when you have perspective from God's angle, it makes a lot of things different. It leaves being a paycheck, it's just where I'm doing what I'm doing to buy the time. Now, in a case where you have tried your best and there is no passion whatsoever towards that thing, I would say don't stay long there. It's terrible to work without passion. Like, what will you now be doing? It will be somehow now. Like, you will not be happy. I don't think anybody should live that way. And I know it's not easy because, gosh, Nigeria is a lot. Yeah. Food is a lot. Transportation is a lot. Everything is a lot. So I know it's not that easy to just say, oh, go and do what you love. No, I don't say that do what you love thing because I don't believe in it. Do what is necessary. Do what is necessary and find passion in what you're doing. That's what I would rather say. And if you now you've tried your best, but you know that this thing is not really me, make sure you don't stay long. Start planning your exits. From the day you end, start planning your exits. Start planning where you will go. And for us as young people, sometimes we overestimate what we love. That's why I don't ever tell anybody what they love, because I promise you, what you thought you love when you were in university is not what you love now. Now, let me tell you this now. For me personally, I still plan to work with my chemical engineering. Obviously, maybe let me not say obviously because I don't know. But I'm not thinking about it necessarily for me getting a job perspective. I'm thinking about setting up a manufacturing plant or something like that. But that is how I'm thinking. So me, I don't think that my engineering degree is going to go to waste for where I will use that degree. So if it's to go and build chemical companies, I'm ready for it. So I'm just saying that to say that don't also box yourself into this is what I like. You can find new. I told you guys, I did not like in my secondary school, it was further math/economics. I didn't do economics. I didn't know jack about business. I didn't know jack. The basics of accounting. I didn't know jack about it. This thing they used to say demand and supply. I didn't know all those things. I learned them because I don't do economics. That's just to show you how much of a novice I was. So if someone had told me when I was in the university that I would have a career in marketing, I would say it's impossible. It could never have crossed my mind. Never. That I will not even go and start a marketing agency. There's no way to have crossed my mind. I would not even believe I can be happy about it. So I'm saying that to say that sometimes you don't really know what you love. You just think you do. You have an illusion of what you think you love. Sometimes you don't know. You have experience, you have exposure, and you start to see new things, and you start to push yourself in a new direction. So don't overestimate, this whole idea of doing what I love, what I'm passionate about, You can find passion in something as of today you thought you could never be passionate about. You just need perspective. But if you have set your spirit, you have set on every level, and you know that this thing is not really it, don't stay long. Be fast and be planning your exit. Sometimes God needs you in that place. It might be a learning phase, but God needs you there. And that's why that principle or whatever that hand finds to do, please do it. Even if you don't like it. As long as you're not working against God, please do it.
Wow. I think that's excellent. That's so much excellence. You know, one thing I will tell you is that if you are somewhere and you don't want to be there, that means you have to work hard. I have to work fast. I think many people, they don't plan exit very well. You just whine where they don't like. Many of us, especially if you're in Nigeria, you're currently number one in a place you don't like. When I was working in Lagos, and I after like a few days, I was like, this is like slave trade. It's like I don't know, maybe for I don't know how it was driving. Like it was like I mean sugar cane factory. I'll be tired, my back will be aching, or like I can't go on and this. Somewhere somehow I'll break. And because of that, I know you just need to start planning your exits. Of course, and the best way to plan your exit is that be better than where you are currently. Like build yourself up. Make sure that you are aiming to that point of comfort. Come on, and I think at every stage in time, every point you are in your life, you should think that way for the next phase. As I am right now, that leads me to my last question. You know, personally, I've been thinking like, I can't continue like this. I've looked at this 9 to 5 career stuff. I say I'm too good for this. It's not pride. Like I just like this 9 to 5 stuff, then working. I can't do it for too long. I've tried it 1 year in Lagos. I've tried it 2 years in Lagos, working for other people and this and that. Like it's number one, I'm reducing every part of my other part of my life. I'm someone that I love to talk, I love to meet with people. How do you come to that? Look, like I feel like some of us are in a betting season, like there's something within you. Like just like I'm more than this, there's something within you. Even though I'm working for people, but you know, I'm supposed to be out. This is my time. I know Praise is trying to start a company. Ice is trying to start a company. I know some other younger people are trying to get a job or stuff like that. I don't know. But how do you consider idea? I also want to be like you. How do you consider idea? How do you get the, let me use the word energy, that kind of energy enough? I know you said you got equipment from your mom and your dad. I know some of us don't have that kind of experience, and some of us have that kind of experience. But how do you get that energy and say, see, let's go inside this river. The Lord has said we should go. How do you get it?
To be honest, just go.
Okay.
Just go. And everything will meet you. And I'm saying this, without, I'm not saying this to belittle what you would experience. I promise you, running a business will show you. It will actually show you. It will test you. It will. So I'm not saying it because it's nice or because it's just seamless. No. It's going to stretch you. It's going to test you. It's going to push your limits. Right? But you never really know until you do it. Now, I'm going to say that if you need money, right, don't resign because you want to go and start something. You see, be doing the two of them together. At the point where you should leave and focus, you will know. That's it. So many times, if the thing they really burn your heart the way you think is burning your heart, you will find a way around it, even with your job. If you have not found a way around it, right, then maybe it's not really burning like that. You will find a way around it. Now, am I saying it because it will be convenient? No. It will be very inconvenient. That's the goal. That's the point. But if you don't really try, you don't know. See, any advice anybody give you is knowledge on paper. You know what my then boss told me about doing an MBA, right? I'm currently running an MBA program. And I promise you that it makes sense now because I've seen, my eyes have actually seen. So when we're having conversations in class, I'm actually thinking about my life and all the things I've done, thinking about the mistakes I've made. Do you understand? Like a lot of things are in perspective. So I'm saying that if you just, no matter what advice I give you about do it, is in that doing that, like, what is the first step you can take? Take it. Do what is the next most logical thing where that idea is concerned. Now, there are some ideas whose time has not come and you need to know the difference. Do you understand? And that's why I said that at the end of the day, for someone who lives that life in the spirit, there's a way you'll be regulated. Your biggest advantage is to follow the Lord. And remember, David, when I mean follow the Lord, I don't mean be waiting for God to speak to you in that traditional sense of how we say God speaks to you. Is that you are so in tune that when you have pulsations in your heart, you respond to them. That's your biggest advantage. Imagine if I did not book that call with my then boss. What do you think would have happened? Now, what I did tell you guys was that I came to Lagos. My parents live in Ogun State, so I came to Ogun State for Moshun for Easter holiday. And in my secondary school group chat, someone just dropped that Brainiacs was recruiting. And I decided to just submit CV. Guys, this was maybe like 5 or 4 months into NYC. I was not looking for a job. I just wanted to test myself. So I sent my CV. Then they responded that day and said, can I come for an interview that day? This was Easter, maybe Friday or so, but it was a public holiday, like proper public holiday that people don't go to work. And I was just like, why these people respond immediately? It was not to 1 hour. This was in the morning of the interview day. They were like, can I come, daddy? And now I went to ask my parents because remember I was my parents' house. So I went outside because my dad was outside, like he was in the compound. So I went to go and meet him that I sent him. He said, we are going now. I didn't know Lagos, so he described how I would go, everything. And I came to Lagos. I even misplaced got lost, found myself back. Do you understand? And I did the whole thing. Yeah. Remember again, I was not looking for a job. So I didn't come with I needed this job. Me, I was having fun. I promise you. I was just having fun. When they were asking me a question, I was just vibing. I was just telling them about my plans, what I want to do in my life. Because interestingly, it was this same boss that interviewed me. I didn't know it was the CEO. It was my own. The man was just asking me, so what do you do? What are you interested in? At that time, I started writing my book. So I was telling him about my first year Unlimited, that, I'm writing a book, blah, blah, blah. So I was just really talking. Remember, this was my first interview, actually. So I didn't even know, I really didn't know, so me, I was just vibing. They asked me questions now. The same way I'm talking to you, that's how I was saying that this is what I want to do. They don't ask me questions about their office. They asked me a question about what I want to do in my life, and I was answering. At least at that level, I knew what I thought I wanted to do. So I was just telling him about my passion and all of that. And that was how I got the job. Now, I didn't need the job. I could have not sent my CV. I was serving. I was still collecting alawi. So I didn't even apply because I needed money. Honestly speaking, till tomorrow, I can't categorically say I know why I applied. It just sounded like fun. It just sounded like a cool thing. You send CV now. Let's even see. That was really it. So sometimes, the moments that can change your life may not come dressed in a life-changing opportunity. It could be in small things. Small things. Small things. Up until when I left Brainiacs, I didn't know. I actually did not think I was a business person. I thought I was a career girl. I was going to climb corporate career ladder. I wanted to work in McKinsey so bad. God, you see my heart. I'm still hoping for an opportunity to do something with McKinsey. God, please. I wanted to work with McKinsey because I was so fascinated by that whole consulting life. And not the finance people. So that's why I say I don't say PwC and KPMG. It was McKinsey because I wanted to do strategic consulting. I was so fascinated. I still am. I really hope soon that I will be able to do some projects with them, and I really look forward to doing. But that was really so McKinsey rejected times. I applied different, I got their staff to review my CV. Like, because I met people who worked there, who reviewed my CV, who told me what to do. They still rejected me 3 times. 3 times.
I think it's all for the good.
Yeah, I mean, if I'd gone to McKinsey, I definitely would not have had the opportunity to start this. Likely not. Because if you know anything about consulting careers, you know that it is networking. They don't used to give this space if you're working. All these people that work in Big Four, just ask them. There's nothing like, most of them don't have another life outside that Big Four.
Exactly.
Because it's the way the space is designed. It just sucks you in, right? I mean, I have a lot of friends there, so I can tell you categorically. So I said all of that to say that many times you just do what you can do. Remember, I said something at the beginning. If you are a person living your life in the spirit, it's very, very unlikely that things just happen to you anyhow. And you must know that you're a spiritual person. God is invested in your life. He will be putting you in the path that will get you to where he needs you to be. Yeah. But many times, I feel like, especially for those of us who have very, very in quotes religious background, not spiritual, because the word is not spiritual, we can be very keen on waiting for confirmation of God's leading. In the traditional sense of God will be like, oh yeah, do this now, do that now. In my experience, so that's not really how God used to work. And I just gave you the bits. If we stay together, you understand. Even Joseph is another good example. I wanted to tell you that if we do Bible study together, we can get more examples of scripture. But even Joseph is an example. Joseph is an example. The guy kept, how do you think? I mean, yes, God can always find a way. But I promise you that somebody needed to have experienced Joseph interpreting dream for the person to recommend him to. Yes, now. So Pharaoh will now just have a dream and God will now appear to him and tell him there's one guy. And nobody could vouch for him. Somebody needed to have experienced his work and then say, you know what, this is our guy. Call him, he will interpret it.
Makes sense.
Now, you might, so you are praying that, oh God, I need to become prime minister. Let's assume that's your prayer point. And you think that you'll probably just be walking one day and then you will bump into Pharaoh somewhere and he will just be fascinated by something about you. And he will say, you know, sometimes that's how we imagine these things to be. Yeah. Or you just imagine that something, I just told you guys, if I had gotten another job, I probably would not have been serious with my company. I have 7 staff now. Just imagine.
Wow.
Imagine. I probably would not have been this devoted. You know, now this is my primary source of income, so it has to work. Because, I mean, I cannot go back to my father's house now. If I could go back 2 years ago, I'm definitely not now by God's grace, and I'm not great. Do you understand what I mean? So now, maybe if I had a job that was paying me very well, maybe I would have been very relaxed, and I would not have been this motivated.
Yeah.
And I told you that I had that window of I want to leave for a year. I just told you McKinsey rejected me 3 times. I told you that yes, I got some offers, but they were not what I wanted. I told you now you have already, I've told you what I was really looking for is McKinsey job I was looking for, I did not give me. So sometimes it's not going to come like in a straight line. But you as a person of the spirit, you need to be able to trust. And you just need to take the leap. If you sense, and you see that throughout my conversation, I kept saying, when I needed to make like critical decisions, I presented it to people I trusted. Yeah. Do you understand? So that's like another layer. You seek for counsel. But at the end of the day, if you don't take the leap, everything we're saying is story. Honestly.
Yeah. Wow. Can we just appreciate Miss Teresa O'Day for such a wonderful, awesome session? I can't even exhaust my questions. And as I can't even exhaust my questions, I'm sure some people also they can't exhaust their questions. I remember someone told me that what am I supposed to do what will she do? What was supposed to do? She's supposed to travel, you're supposed to do masters first or get a job first. When I heard that question, I wanted to reply immediately, but then let me just add it to the list of questions. But I don't know if I think we've answered it right. In the list of like people don't think about should I go for masters first or should I go and get a job? What do you think? Because I have my own opinion about getting a job and getting masters. I have my own opinion about personal bias.
So I don't have an answer because everybody's journey is different. You
Yeah.
need to find what you need to do. So I think that is there's never a straight answer for that kind of a question because people are different phases of their life and they need different things and their journey requires different things, right? So having said that, I generally believe that working gives you an experience that school will never give you. Is why people who live abroad, they start working from 16, 15. Before they go to university, college, they're already working. It is we here that will be feeding from our parents until you are 20 something. You will not just think, you will not just wake up after your graduation and feel like you are supposed to do something with your life. So, and I like that a lot of young people in school now are learning to intern, have a job. See, it doesn't have to be a lot, and it should not even be about the money. It shouldn't. It shouldn't. It should be about there's something it does to your mind.
Yes.
There's something it does to your mind. There's a way you start thinking when you are working and you have deliverables that you will never think that way if all you have is it's just exam that is your problem. Especially if God has now blessed you that they send you money as I went you. Do you understand? So you don't have that thoughts of oh my God.
Sorry.
Okay. So I'm still echoing. Okay. But I was not echoing before your mic was unmuted. So I'm wondering what happened. But anyways, let me just wrap that up. So I would say that working, I already made that first foundation because some people actually need to go back for their masters, and that's fine. But I'm saying that even if you're doing that, you might want to get, some bit of work experience. I like everybody in the university that I know, I always encourage them to try something with themselves. If you can be starting a business in school, sell something in your hostel, just do something that allows you think outside just going to class. I hope I've answered because again, it does something to your mind that will also help.
Yes, definitely. I also that's my own point exactly. I believe so because work experience is very, very important anywhere in the world. I recently met a young boy, I think he's 17 or so. I met him at work. So, we had conversations. He was so he was so articulate. He was so smart. He was so composed for that age. And here in UK, they don't pay them the same amount of money they pay us. So no matter what you do, there's how long you can work, and there's how much you can earn. Once you are below 18, you can't earn a certain amount of money. But you see that a lot of them are still working from. So I'm like, they're not earning so much. Why are they making them work? But I discovered that there's a way you build your confidence in yourself. It helps you to know you can do things that it can work, and it helps you to understand sometimes what you want to do. Because if the guy was telling me then that day that he will just after high school, he just may probably enter into police academy, and from there he will work as a policeman. I think that's what he wants to do. Because he said I enjoy working. That's what he told me. He said I enjoy working. And really it's something that you should give it a big try. And as she has said, work anywhere first, just to get the experience and all that. I just hope everybody here has been mightily blessed by this session. So thank you so much. Thank you so much. It's really, really, very great person to me. And as I said earlier, that Teresa O'Day is someone I really, really admire for like, wow, it's such a very amazing woman. I used to wonder that how do you know so much? I was always my question, how do you know this thing? But of course, by the time she explained and all this thing, and one thing I saw was about her is that she saw that she loves working hard. All the books that she read, and she loves so much. She responds to push. If there's something we can learn from her, that's when you push her, she moves. When you push her, she doesn't resist it, and that's wonderful. That's wonderful. Please, can you please celebrate her once again? So this is the Vine Podcasts. Divine Podcast is actually designed to help Christian professionally and every aspect of their lives. That means we will be seeing content from there. We're not necessarily going to be talking about Bible, right? We're going to talk about how it's applied to your life. So that's something we're looking up to have. Very soon. This is a great beginning because of course having Teresa of Day is actually great. Looking forward to many more time. Of course, we're going to bring her in. Maybe by that time, people like Isaac will have their own company where they are turning in millions. And what we're talking about is how to scale. Hopefully, right? Praise to have his own network all around Africa about how to scale. That's what I'm about to. And I just pray you see everybody. So thank you, everyone. Thank you, everyone. It's been a great and awesome time. Thank you, Teresa O'Day. Thank you once again. So, all right. The ending today, the recording will be available on YouTube. I'll send you the link, especially Teresa O'Day, so that you just in case you know somebody that wants to listen to the session, you can just say, I taught this class. So this class was very nice. So, all right. Thank you very much. Have a lovely evening. Have a lovely time. It's great having you around.
Thank you,
Thank you,
everyone.
everyone.
Bye.
Bye.
Bye. You can unmute and say bye. Okay, she's left. She has left.
Yeah, thank you. Thank you very much.